So here I am getting ready to start on another project here. What I got here is a bunch of wheels and tires for a project that I got going on here. Or that I want to start anyway. I got a bunch of axles over here and whatnot. But the first thing I got to do is I got to remove all these tires from these rims. Now I don't have a tire changer, so let's build one. I have a bunch of bits and pieces around from over the years. I turn around and I just save everything. I see a piece of steel and I say that could be good for something. I'm after digging through a bunch of stuff here now, digging out a bunch of parts and bits and pieces. And I'm going to turn around and start building something. I'm sizing it all up here. Over on the corner of the bench, I got this entrance here. A piece here that I used to have an attachment used to go in here, and I got rid of the attachment. I have had really no use for it. But I'm going to put this to use again now. I'm going to make everything mount into this here. I'm just going to bolt my vise and slide it out of the way for now. And the first thing I'm going to make is I got to find some way to break the tires down. So let's not overthink this. Let's break the tires down first, and then we'll go from there. So I know I'm going to have to build this in two pieces. One, break tires down. Two, to remove tires, okay? I can really overthink this and try to build it all in one unit, but I don't want to spend a lot of time at this. I want something I can break tires down and I can change tires in, and I don't want to put like a whole bunch of time into it, okay? I just want to build it out of what I got kicking around here, and that's it. I found this piece 1 and 5/8 square stock. It is extremely heavy, okay? My plan is to take half of it and just slide it down into that there, and that'll be my one pedestal, and then I'll take the other piece and I'll use that for my second pedestal. And I can clamp it on down the bottom side to keep it from coming up, and that will give me my stand. This, first of all, let's not get carried away. I'm going to cut this in half, use half of it, and then put the other piece aside for the other mechanism, and start building something that I can break tires down in. I'm not going to overthink this. I want it very simple, and I'll adjust it as I need it to be. I have this piece now laid down inside the pocket, clamped with a pair of vice grips, and I got to put down as low as I can possibly get it, okay? And what I got done now is that I'm going to weld this piece onto here, so that falls into the pocket there. Get down my leg, I'm just going to weld that just randomly on there. This here, I have it marked for the small tires and for the big tires, the height that I needs it. And if I weld this about right here, okay, I have enough movement in the bottom of this here that I can lift up on this and clamp it on down the bottom there for it to come to the high tire and be able to push down on it. I want to weld two of these together here. This will be the mechanism that will actually, you'll push from the flat the tire down. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go ahead now and just get this all ready, weld it together. This stuff here is just old random pipe that I got kicking around here. Schedule 40, 1/8 wall. I'm not quite sure what it is. A lot of it is scrap. If you look at it, it's really rusty. Stuff I had kicking around. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to cut that there now and weld that to that there. And then I'll have my stand made for breaking tires down. Okay, for jobs like this here, and a lot of the jobs I'll be doing on this channel, I wanted to be using a simpler welder, save on gas and stuff like that, so I'll be doing a lot of flux core welding here. This company contacted me a while back, and I have only now getting around to it. Simder, I suppose that's how it's pronounced. They wanted to hook me up with a welder, and they were going to send me much the same welder as what I got here now. But I said to myself, no, I would like to try the cheapest welder you got and see how good it is, okay? So this one, they sent me this welder here, and in their defense, I never researched it enough. I thought this was a gas welder, okay? This, you can actually MIG weld with this here. But when I got it and opened up the box, I come to realize that it's only for flux core and arc welding and stuff like that. So, you know, it says gasless MIG, but when I sees the term MIG, G in MIG is for gas, okay? That was my fault. I never read it. This here is a little flux core welder. That's the easy way to describe it. It's all digital. It comes with arc. You can actually arc with it. It says you can actually lift TIG with it, but you must, with a TIG, you must have a gas. So you must hook up a gas separate from this welder. So, you know, there is no attachments on this welder on the back of this here to put a bottle of gas. And I find that very strange for them to say you can lift TIG and you still need gas for it. But it's a cheap little welder, okay? A lot of you guys are using flux core and ask me a lot of questions. So I'm going to get into doing a bit of flux core welding with this one here over on this channel. I have some rugged things that I want to do, build. Some of the stuff is going to be done outside, and flux core is the best way to do that, because if you're out in the wind or anything like that, you can't be using a bottle of gas. I can take this here, take it up on the door, plug it in, and weld away, okay? So I'm going to set this up here now, and going to put this project together with this welder. So I followed the instructions. I got it all hooked up. I got the ground on the positive side because I'm using flux core, and I got the power source hooked up to the negative side, and I hooked up. I went and put a roll of 030 or 8mm wire in it. There's an 8mm tip in that there. I ran that through the machine. I plugged it in, turned it on. The settings on the front of this here are pretty well simple. It's going to make noise now with the fan. Alright, I got it basically set up for just using it on 110, small outlet. I haven't played around with it on 220 because I got it comes with a plug that I'm going to plug this in and make it 220. And I can choose my wire sizes, and then I can go over here and I can set it up for TIG, and I can set it up for arc. So I can only run two wire sizes, 0.08 and 0.09, which is 030 and 035. Down here, this one here sets my volts. I crank that right up on the volts. I'm pretty sure that's volts. And I was playing around with it. It seemed like more like wire speed. That was controlling my wire speed. I'm never familiar with how all this stuff usually works anyway. And this one here is the volts itself, negative and positive. I played around, I did some welding with it, and all I did right here is I just done this with it, that up and bust, and that up and bust, and I start welding with it. That's it. So I don't know what more to tell you about it. It's just a simple little flux core welder. It's great for this stuff. While I was out around the door, you can see these are white residue, and you got to chip it after the fact. It's got a core on it. I had an old chipping hammer. I haven't had it in years now. And then you got to beat the flux off it to get your weld. So I'm going to go ahead now, weld up this pipe and see what it looks like. So there's my first welds with the machine. I welded it up on its highest settings. It got no trouble welding it, and lays down really nice. It might be a bit hot. I may want to start turning it down. All I'm doing is I'm trying to find a setting on it that I like, and in order to do that I got to do some welding. And this type of unit, when I'm building here now, is just a bit of fun. I haven't got to worry about it being perfect or whatever. And so I'm going to go ahead now and start welding this onto the stand there, and play around with the welder some more and see what I think of it. So here's what I got done. I cut off a piece of square stock. Okay, and we'll just weld it to the top of the jack itself. I had to clean this up. This was pretty rusty. All this is an old car jack, and there's already a nut built into the end of this, 3/4 nut. Now, if you never had one that had a nut on it, all I usually do is I just weld the nut on them. These are great to have around. I got 2 or 3 of these kicking around. They're great for stuff like this. And all this is going to do is, if you see this here, this is laid in place now. It's down through there, and it's got the pipe coming off here. All this is going to do is this is going to go up here and hang on that like so. So you can adjust it for the tire that you're going to put on it. And what I'll do then is down here, I'll adjust the height of it and clamp with a pair of vice grips. So let's take this for a road test now. I'll take you guys along. Down here, probably might be wise if I figure out some way of keeping it from coming up. Because I think when I start pushing down, it's going to want to pull up. So for now, I'm just going to put vice grips on it just to see if it'll work. And if it fails, then I'm going to have to probably like put a locking nut on this here so I can bolt it down, stuff like that. I just want something simple that I can just throw on the bench, boom, 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 take the tire off and put it away, and that's it. Nothing fancy, okay? I'll probably end up just trimming this off up here, or I might even just leave it here, I don't know, all right? So let's see what this is like for taking tires off. First thing, remove the valve. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we'll give it a try. It might be a full-on fail. This is so simple, it might work. The concept of it says it should work. Okay, so we're not going to lose it. Tire back as tight as I can get it to this. That's it, there. Sits down on the bottom. And the brush comes in this down here. There we go. She's a tricky one. I'm going to bring this up a small bit, just so to make it easier to maneuver around the rim. I'll take the tire around so we can get out. Remember the last time these tires were off? That might need more power. Got it. She want to break it off really shit. There she goes. That seems, the vice grip seems to work good, considering the strain I got out. So there you have it. Just simple. I got it set up there so it just hangs where it wants. I can adjust it in and out to wherever I want to put it on the rim. I can move it out, and then it'll just center itself, and then you just push up on it. Okay. Down here, all I got done is pure vice grips clamped into it like so. That's what's holding it up. I want something that I can put in there and take it apart. I put the tire back tight to this here when I was doing it, and then I break it down that way, right? And so everything was working best kind. It's just that it was very tight on the rim. Okay, and I managed to get it off it. I started off with my little tiny electric impact gun, but I had to take out the big boy and use the air tool on it in order to get it. I couldn't get enough on it to push down on the tire to actually get it to break, because these have been on the rim for a long time. So, and it worked out best kind. This here had a nice shape to it, so I used to follow the shape of the rim. So it'd take the area right around here, I'd take a large area to push off the rim, and it worked best kind. So now I'm going to do one more test on it. I'm going to put a small tire on it and try that. It'll fall down where it wants to. Right down there. Broke that one down, no problems. So, worked out best kind on the small tire as well. Got that done. So, I broke that down best kind. So now that I got this part figured out, I can take this and lay this aside now, and I can start working on the mechanism for taking the tire off. I want to have that over here on the side, so that way I got 3/4 of the way to walk around the tire. I'll remove this now and get started on the other section. Okay, the next part. What I got dreamed up so far is here on the bench. All the pieces I got now to actually mount this on the bench, put a tire into it, and lock the tire into position. Okay? That's what's on the bench here now. Let's see what I can make from all this. So here's what I made. Okay, let's start. There's the piece of iron, the spare piece I had. That's for the stand that goes down there. This here is a stand off, say, a camper that goes underneath the bottom of the stand. I come across this at a yard sale this summer, and I picked it up. And so I said to myself, that I can find a use for that somehow. And here it is. Okay, on the top of it, I got a washer well at the top of it. And on the washer, this here is welded to the washer, this threaded rod. And of course, there's a nut on the top of the threaded rod. Now, I don't know how many times this is going, because it's just a soft threaded rod. It'll probably end up getting stripped out and wearing out, but that's fine. I'm making this all out of junk. Over here now, this here is a piece of that roll bar pipe, okay? I got that because it's a lot stronger, and it's the piece of head there. Then I got a washer welded at the top of that. And as you come down, this is the piece of exhaust pipe I cut off. Then I took a little piece of angle iron and I cut them and I put them around it. So that will fit over the rim. And then the bolt will tighten this down and that'll keep all that in place. Over here, I got a bolt and this will just drop down to the rim, down through that hole there. Just so happens that both wheels, the 5-lug pattern and the 4-lug pattern, have the same location. Now I could probably put a bolt there like that and weld it on, but for now I'm just going to give this a try just so I can drop it down, so that way I can just drop it down through the hole, and then when it starts to move, this will grab it on the way around. See? So I'm going to put that all together there now and see what it's like. And that's how all that goes together. Just goes down now. That'll clamp against the rim. There's the bolt. You can just take up and drop that down to the rim, so now it don't want to turn. It's all set up there and it's up off the bench a small bit. I can adjust the height if I need be. And now I just got to turn around and be able to take this off the rim. So now the next thing I got to make is the bar to be able to take this off the rim. So, going through my pile of stuff, I got a mess here on the floor now. Going through all my gear there. I come across a one-way. Nothing better than a one-way. That got a tapered edge on the end of it. I got to round it out, take the sharpness off it. And I got this length of pipe that I had there. On a cost probably 3-4 feet of that or whatever. Cut that off. I'm going to chop this off about right here. I'm going to slide it up inside the pipe and weld the end of it. And that way this here, all this bar is up inside for extra strength. And then that will be the end that'll actually pop off the tire on this side. So we'll get that made up, cut off and made up, and then see what it's like. So I ended up finding a different piece of pipe that'll fit inside nicer. And I just cut it off. There's the old piece there. I just cut it off and put it up. I use the full length of it. That's up inside here, so it gives it a bit of strength. And I grounded out the edge of it here a bit. So I'm going to give this a try now, see if it works. A lot easier to do it that way. Gotta take the tube off. Try it on the smaller ones. For some reason, everything I got tubes in it. That's them. That seems to work pretty good. Now, the trick that I got to do now is I got to figure out a way to make it so I can put the tires back on. It's already got a bend in it. Okay. Let's start with that. Here it is, all welded on. I'll leave the bar as long as I can because I'm trying to get lots of leverage inside this. 10 chances to 1 this whole bar will probably end up bending if I put too much on it, and I'll reinforce it if I got to with a piece of angle iron or something later on. But for now, the trick with this was getting the angle so it fit on the rim. And this here setup is just based on an old tire changer that I remember using when my very first job. I had a tire changer and it was just a simple old wheel used to spin around, and I'm basing this off of that. This is how it used to put the tire back on the rim. This here rides on the rim here, and the tire will go along here, and it'll just push it in as it goes, right? Hopefully it works. And just made out of a bunch of old scrap steel. I got kicking around, tire irons, a piece of old pipe, right? I've done all the welding with that little machine. I can tell you, it is a hot machine. I can burn up everything other than that. I had to turn it down. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not familiar. I don't use flux core a lot, but I intend to use it. What I like about it now is I got 2 machines here, and I have a number of rolls of flux core kicking around for a number of years, and I just assume use it up, so I can use it on that there, and I can use it on projects like this here. And that way, the other machine I got, I can actually use both of it. I can use flux, but I gotta change everything around. Now I got one, I'll just leave that flux, and the other one will stay what I got set up as, right? And they sent me this welder, wanted me to try it out and give it a whirl. It's, you know, it's got the handle on it, the ground clamp. It seems to be a bit cheap, okay? But you got to realize that this is like, I don't know, it's a $150 welder. Might be that, I don't know. And up here on the front of it, all this here, the same thing. I noticed that this here just keeps turning around. This one here seems a bit loose. So I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong or whatnot. But when I pull it off and put it in place, I has trouble getting it set up there, right? But that's it. It already came out, it came loose once already on me and pushed the nozzle off it, but that's what it is. But I've used it and I'm going to continue using it. I got a couple of projects that I want to do on this channel. They don't suit the other channel, and so I enjoy making oddball things. This is one of them. And so I'm going to give this a try now, see if this is going to work. This will probably be a total failure. We will see. I'm not going to bother with the tube in this now. I just want to see if I can mount it on the rim. You know how much trouble it is to get it on there. I think my little system's going to work around. It works. And there you have it. That seemed to work pretty good. It took me a bit of fooling around to get used to the way it worked and whatever, but all it does is grabs the end of the rim, edge of the rim there, and the tire rides on this here, and then it pushes the tire down. As the tire rolls off of that, it'll push it down on the rim that way, right? So it's just a simple little concept. And it's just a matter of getting on the right angle, because the problem you got is when you hook that in the rim, you want that to lay flat in the rim like so when you're pulling on the bar. See the way the angle that's on? So when I'm pulling on that, that's going around the rim that way there. So you can see just the way that there, now the tire will be riding up on that, and it'll just push it down as it's going. So it worked out pretty good. I'm pleased with it. Right, did a bit of research. Nothing fancy about nothing I'm doing here, okay? Everything I have here was stuff I had kicking around. I never bought nothing. You know, you could probably say like a bot grinding discs, but there always has them in stock here. MIG wire, and that's it. The little welder worked fine, worked best kind. I'm going to put it to a lot more use. This whole system, everything with blonde of this was made with that little welder. That can be done 220 as well. I have a few projects now I'm going to use that on. And so I'm pretty pleased with it. Simple little tire changer for your ATV. Bench top, made with basic tools. With stuff you got kicking around, or stuff that you might have access to, or find your hands to it. You can see the way it was all goes together there. Nothing fancy. Simple little nut to hold it all in place. You can see there's not much to it. It's made up out of just stuff I had kicking around, okay? Old piece of exhaust pipe, an old piece of pipe, a couple of washers, small piece of angle iron. That's the body of it. This here is probably the hardest part to get, which is the stand off a trailer jack. And you know, you could probably make up something like that if you wanted to, if you had a round piece of pipe or flat bar or even piece of plate, and just cut it with a grinder and make it round. You could have made that. I just had it as already ready made. And then this bottom section here is just heavy duty angle iron that I just cut in half. It would have been nice if that was square boxed tubing to fit in the vise or in the bench, but just a regular 5/8 bolt. This here is made up of 2 one-ways. And old, I think it's an old small block Chevy bracket with a bit of flat bar on it, on the back side of it there, welded on. And then that section here is another one way. Of course, then there's just an old jack with a piece of square stock welded onto the top of it, because that could just slide in over this piece of pipe here, and it's just 2 pieces of pipe teed together with that piece of angle iron for mounting to the bench. It all worked best kind here today. I got a bunch of tires now I got to break down, get that done. But hope you enjoyed this one. It was an afternoon playing around with a bunch of old junk in the garage, and I managed to make something out of it. Simple tools, a simple little welder. Anyway, I hope the tips are good, and until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.